4 years post-graduation, my roommate Yu Shuang is tying the knot and has invited us to be her bridesmaids. The expenses for travel, accommodation, and attire are to be borne by ourselves, with no monetary gift in return. Arriving at her family home in the countryside at 6 in the morning, we assisted her in preparing her new abode. The following evening, after the wedding festivities concluded, we made our way back from the rural setting. In the spirit of sisterhood, the three of us still contributed a monetary gift, unwittingly becoming the butt of the joke. Enduring the humiliation of rural wedding customs, we were met with her remark, "These are my 3 handmaidens." The groom happened to be my ex-boyfriend from university. As I sat through their narrative of an 8-year romantic saga, punctuated by embarrassing photos of our entire dormitory to highlight the bride's exquisite grace, we could no longer contain ourselves and smashed the large screen. That night, I awoke in the university dormitory to find Yu Shuang boasting about a red jade pendant gifted by her admirer. Among the 4 of us in the dorm, 3 had been reborn. 01. I told him I don't need any cosmetics, but he insisted on gifting me this. Given that it's Christmas Eve, such an ambiguous time, do you think he has feelings for me? Yu Shuang exclaimed while posing with the pendant, inadvertently flaunting it. She remained oblivious to the fact that my gaze upon her had shifted, and one inquired, yet she rambled on. This senior claimed his girlfriend isn't as pretty as me, nor does she have a figure that compares. Is he hinting at something? He's asked me out tonight, but I'm not interested. That precise moment my phone chimed. My boyfriend had sent a selfie from the dorm, followed by a digital red envelope of 5.2. The accompanying message read, "Sorry, my dear wife. I can't accompany you on Christmas Eve as I'm swamped with assignments. Once I earn some money, I'll buy you a gift." In the corner of the image, there lay the open packaging of the red jade pendant. The cheap scent was nauseating. No wonder he had been entangled with Yu Shuang for 8 long years. It seemed he had already begun his flirtations anew. Yu Shuang, clad in my Gucci coat and carrying my Chanel bag, spritzed Jo Malone while asserting, Tian, hasn't your boyfriend asked you out? I envy you. I went out with someone a month ago on Christmas, and those boys acted as if they had never encountered a wealthy beauty before. I'm heading to the library tonight. Could you please return my clothes and bag? I need them, I replied, catching her off guard. I forgot to mention that my family adds disinfectant to expired cosmetics to prevent misuse. Which foundation and perfume did you use just now? Is your face hurting? Yu Shuang's complexion shifted dramatically as she hastily wiped her face and removed her makeup, fuming. Why didn't you tell me earlier? Are you trying to sabotage me? I leaped from my bed, fixing her with a cold stare. Did you ask for permission before using my things? Just because I didn't mention it before doesn't mean I was unaware. Why are you being so aggressive? It's not like it costs a fortune, Yu Shuang retorted defiantly, shooting me an indignant glance before donning a mask and heading out. You won't wear this dress, will you? I'm running late for my date. The dress she wore was also a designer piece I had purchased, a summer-style slip dress. Yu Shuang took my coat, but deliberately chose not to wear it, exposing her shoulders as she sashayed through the December campus, her curvaceous figure and long, voluminous hair, causing the boys' eyes to widen in astonishment. Her intentions could not have been clearer. I smiled and remotely locked my Porsche. Sure enough, within half an hour, Yu Shuang stormed back into the dorm, bundled in a down jacket, her lips tinged with frostbite. What a broke loser. He actually wanted me to take the bus to Huaihai Road for dinner. Has he lost his mind? At that very moment, my boyfriend inundated me with 5 messages asking why my Porsche wouldn't start. Before I could respond, his video call came through. Startled by the sound, Yu Shuang glanced at me, about to speak, but I answered the call right in front of her. Dai Xiaotian, what do you mean by locking the Porsche? Upon hearing my boyfriend's voice, Yu Shuang swiftly averted her gaze, yet there was no trace of guilt or panic evident in her demeanor. Ah. So it turns out that the two were deliberately conspiring to deceive me. I've been driving for quite some time. Why are you? Whose car is that, my dear brother? I'm in a foul mood. Can I lock it? Why are you driving when you could be working on your assignments in the dormitory? My tone was sharper than his, leaving him momentarily speechless. My boyfriend stammered. I was just asking, why are you so flustered? I noticed Yu Shuang on the lower bunk, angrily removing her skirt. And I chuckled. Could it be that you took my car to go on a date, flaunting your wealth? Let me share an amusing tidbit with you. I've heard of someone who went on a date wearing a friend's clothes, carrying a friend's bag, and even using a friend's triple-ply toilet paper. It seems I didn't come here to study, but to engage in precise poverty alleviation, huh? My boyfriend's face turned crimson with embarrassment, and he abruptly ended the video call. Yu Shuang immediately remarked, who are you being so sarcastic about, Dai Xiaotian? I only wore your clothes after washing them. Do I need to keep reminding you that I borrowed a few sheets of your paper? I owe you nothing. You chose a penniless boyfriend and are venting your frustrations on your roommate. I haven't wronged anyone, have I? At that moment, Li Xian returned from the library, setting her filled thermos down. Yu Shuang immediately leaned toward her, feigning innocence. Xian, you must help me judge this. Dai Xiaotian is quarreling with me over a few sheets of paper. Aren't we supposed to be good sisters? Li Xian, her expression devoid of emotion, retorted coldly. That's not necessarily the case. Li Xian had also been reborn. After attending the wedding, she harbored deep resentment toward Yu Shuang because one of the publicly shared, unflattering photos from the event featured her in nothing but her underwear. What is going on with all of you today? You're all acting so oddly. Yu Shuang awkwardly settled into a chair, attempting to change the subject. We're usually good sisters. Today feels like we've all taken the wrong medicine. Never mind, I won't dwell on it. Xian, could you pour me a cup of hot water? I nearly froze to death today. Li Xian didn't even glance at her, firmly sealing the thermos. If you want hot water, fetch it yourself. We are not your servants. Yu Shuang was momentarily taken aback, her eyes reddening with indignation as she curled up on her bed, shedding tears. I haven't wronged any of you, have I? Sister, has your princess syndrome not run its course? In the past, you treated us like fools. Now that we have a second chance, do you think we will continue to indulge you? Li Xian shot me a glance, inquiring if I wanted to shower, completely disregarding Yu Shuang. When we returned from washing up, Yu Shuang was seated on her bed, seemingly engaged in a video call with someone, her face alight with joy. Yes, Sheng Zhouge. I've missed you quite a bit. Of course, I'm in the dormitory. Only 3 of us are here. One girl went home for the weekend. What's so curious about a girl's dormitory? It's just a few beds and tables, I'll show you. As she spoke, Yu Shuang propped herself up and switched to the rear camera, indiscriminately filming the dormitory. I instinctively wrapped my clothes tighter and warned her, there are still people changing clothes. Don't film. Yu Shuang, wearing her headphones, seemed oblivious, giggling as she introduced the space to the man. Li Xian erupted in anger, rushing over to hang up Yu Shuang's video call and delivering a sharp slap to her face. Can't you understand? There are people changing clothes in the dormitory, and you're filming what for? Yu Shuang screeched like a banshee. Sheng Zhouge is my cousin. What's wrong with showing him? As if anyone would want to see you, you hefty creature. Even if you stripped, no one would care. Li Xian fell silent, her expression filled with disdain. She was from the north, standing at 1.7 meters and weighing just under 130 pounds, hardly fitting the description of fat. Her eyes, filled with hatred, bore into Yu Shuang, her fury palpable. You truly disgust me. With a forceful shove, she knocked Yu Shuang onto the bed, rudely snatching her phone and pressing her finger down to unlock it. What are you doing? Why are you taking my phone? Li Xian signaled me with her eyes, and I, with a serious expression, opened Yu Shuang's photo album. After flipping through only a few images, I indeed found the incriminating photographs, my undergarments, images of Su Yuming and Li Xian changing clothes, as well as a nude photo of Li Xian. As I reached this last image, I handed the phone back to Li Xian, who immediately reddened with rage. This must have been an accident. I didn't even know when it was taken, Yu Shuang stammered, finally turning her face away, defiantly asserting, what do my phone photos have to do with you? Stop invading my privacy. Do you know that that's illegal? The next moment, she let out a blood-curdling scream as Li Xian tore her clothing in two. You insane, overweight woman. Li Xian stuffed the shredded fabric into her mouth, leaving Yu Shuang completely exposed on the bed, the door wide open and the lights glaring. Yu Shuang's face drained of color as she curled up, trembling in fear. I warn you, I've deleted everything from your phone. If you dare to take more unauthorized photos, I will strip you and leave you at the entrance of the classroom. Do you believe that? Yu Shuang, terrified, wept uncontrollably, nodding vigorously. Only then did Li Xian relent, turning to fetch a basin to do laundry. After Yu Shuang had collected herself for a moment, she suddenly slipped into new clothes and dashed out the door. Are you going to find the instructor? That could work, but Li Xian is quite stubborn. I suspect she will pursue this to the end. What if it escalates? Yu Shuang abruptly halted at the doorway, her fists clenched tightly, her eyes glistening with tears. I approached her with a mocking smile, feigning concern. Enough now. Escalating this would benefit no one. Besides, we're all good sisters living in the same dormitory, aren't we? Yu Shuang, tearfully glancing at me, momentarily revealed a glint of cunning in her eyes before quickly adopting a pitiful tone. Of course, we are good sisters. I only wanted to capture the moments we share together as a keepsake for when we graduate. How could Li Xian treat me this way? What a master of semantic manipulation she was. The scent of green tea was overwhelming. It was no wonder we had all been deceived by her in the past. Perhaps she has been overworked with 3 jobs lately and is in a bad mood. We're all good sisters. Just let it slide. Yu Shuang wiped her tears, feigning sincerity as she grasped my hand. You're right. Good sisters shouldn't bicker over trivial matters. Xian has a bad temper. As a well-bred city girl, I should be more accommodating. That very night, Yu Shuang sent several lengthy messages to our 4th roommate, Su Yuming, essentially claiming that she was being ostracized and bullied in the dormitory, alleging that Li Xian was bullying her. If you're willing to speak up for me, let us go to the instructor together and ensure the school punishes Li Xian. I want to let her off easily. Do you think Dai Xiaotian truly cares for you? She is so wealthy. How could she possibly value you? Do you think Li Xian genuinely cares for you? She is envious of your status as a local from Shanghai and has cursed you behind your back. I'm your only true friend left. We should band together. Su Yuming, upon reading this, immediately forwarded it to me, commenting succinctly, is she insane? Su Yuming was also reborn. She was fortunate not to have been photographed in her underwear, but at the wedding, Yu Shuang shamelessly mocked her, saying, so, what if you're a local from Shanghai? Your parents are dead, aren't they? I'm far happier with my rural background. Su Yuming's parents had tragically perished in a car accident after her university graduation. That remark incensed her, and she was the first to hurl something at the large screen. That late night, the 3 of us reflected deeply in our WeChat group on why we had been so easily manipulated by Yu Shuang in our previous lives. We were all novices at living in a dormitory, believing we should be somewhat tolerant and accommodating. Living together for 4 years felt like gaining 3 additional family members. Family members who love to play the princess card, who enjoy taking advantage, and who speak bluntly. She had her flaws, and we certainly had ours. Mutual tolerance seemed reasonable. After graduation, when Yu Shuang tearfully lamented her inability to find a bridesmaid, we foolishly stepped in to fill the role. Little did we know she would trample on everyone's boundaries at the wedding, revealing her true character. Thus, given a second chance, we were all determined not to let her off easy. The following Monday, Yu Shuang stuck closely to Su Yuming in class, sitting together in the last row, casually chatting with her over a book. Her intentions were painfully transparent. During class, my boyfriend messaged me, inquiring why he couldn't log into my QQ account. My QQ account is linked to the game Honor of Kings, and although I play in the WeChat region without using QQ, I have unlocked all the skins. My QQ account has always been publicly accessible to my boyfriend. After my rebirth, I changed all my passwords. Instinctively, I glanced back at Yu Shuang, who was indeed horizontally holding her phone, waiting for people on the Honor interface. I retrieved my QQ number and logged into the game, instantly receiving an invitation reading. Don't bully Xiao Shuang Duck. Yu Shuang typed in the team chat. I just need 1 more star. Hurry and carry me to the top. It's so nice to borrow my brother's skins. She even shared a couple's avatar with my account. It was truly disgusting. Before my rebirth, both of them flaunted their relationship in front of me, and I was utterly oblivious. I entered the game, chose a jungler, farmed Yu Shuang's lane, stole her kills, and sold her out, causing her to rage quit several times. Yet, we won the game together. Yu Shuang excitedly dashed to the restroom to switch on voice chat, sweetly chirping, "Thank you, brother, for carrying me to the top." Just as her words faded, I forcefully swung open the stall door, shoving the results screen in front of her face. Isn't it quite delightful to be in the restroom, flirting with someone else's boyfriend? Does that useless man compare to me? Who can carry you to the top, him or me? Who can drive a Porsche to Huaihai Road, him or me? If you enjoy picking up scraps so much, how about I move a garbage bin to your bed for you to rummage through day and night? You 2 are dating with my money. Am I your father? Should I also sponsor your wedding? Yu Shuang's face turned crimson as she stood embarrassed in the stall, shifting her weight awkwardly and mumbling. Who are you talking about? I don't understand. I'm just playing games with your boyfriend. Are you jealous? At that moment, Li Xian pushed the door open, rushing to the entrance with wide eyes, asking me, what is going on? I heard she has been too timing as a mistress? In the next second, Li Xian rolled up her sleeves, ready to fight, making Yu Shuang jump 3 feet high, managing to escape through Li Xian's arms. Su Yuming, holding Yu Shuang's bag, walked by and gave us a reassuring look. What's wrong, Shuang? Why are you running? Su Yuming pretended to show concern as she caught up with Yu Shuang, and the 2 of them walked away. The audacity of those 2 really crossed the line. I suspected that Yu Shuang would be in for a harsher fate with Su Yuming. At that moment, my boyfriend's call came through. Seeing that I wasn't answering, Li Xian bluntly asked, "Do you want me to help you tear that scumbag apart? How could I let him die so easily? I needed him to remain around for my amusement." Li Xian applied Vaseline by the sink while advising me,
"Just don't get fooled again."
"I remember you two broke up in your senior year. This time, make it quick." She had taken a part-time job washing dishes in the back kitchen, her hands red and cracked from the cold, sometimes unable to hold a pen while writing. Her family came from an impoverished county, and she hoped to ride the coattails of the burgeoning social media trend to earn money. In those years, many individual content creators received significant incentives, and both the pink and black platforms were just beginning to rise. Therefore, Li Xian worked 3 jobs, all to buy a DJI for video recording. I asked if she needed help, but she confidently declined. She believed that with a second chance, she would certainly make money. And this time, she didn't even want to apply for the poverty student grant, leaving it for those who needed it more. Little did I expect. On the day the poverty student application notifications came out, as soon as someone mentioned Li Xian, Yu Shuang posted 4 or 5 selfies in the WeChat group. Captioned, "I met a rich guy. This must be the latest DJI, how amazing." My roommate's new DJI was a product of her frugality. She had saved diligently for such an extravagant hobby. "How excellent," she remarked, sneakily touching my roommate Xian's DJI. Although, she quickly retracted the post. Many had already seen it. She then posted a tongue-sticking-out emoji, claiming it was a mistake, only to repost it on her moments again. I guess Li Xian was busy working and hadn't seen her phone, otherwise, she might have been furious enough to tear her apart through the internet. The next moment, a private message from class monitor Su Yuming popped up. Yu Shuang is actually applying for poverty student assistance and is already preparing her materials. What do you think? Shall we arrange something for her? Yu Shuang is certainly not a poverty student. She maintained the persona of a wealthy Shanghai girl, using the latest mobile phone. And her social media was filled with flaunting her wealth. For this application, she had hidden all her social platforms early on, deliberately eating plain vegetable meals in the cafeteria, as if to impress someone. The class monitor, Su Yuming, handled her submitted materials, which claimed her family was destitute, with both parents unemployed and paralyzed, drowning in debt to the point of contemplating suicide. Yet we had attended a wedding in her hometown, where her parents were wine distributors, the wealthiest in the village, with relatives crowding the streets during the wedding festivities. Genuine students in need could not obtain this money, yet she, a fraud, was applying for it. Su Yuming and I decided to confront the class supervisor. Thus, after the class meeting, the supervisor closed the door and brought out a box to place on the podium. "I would like to ask everyone to spare a few minutes. We are a caring class, and let us help our classmate Yu Shuang, who is in difficulty." Yu Shuang was momentarily stunned, unaware of the drama that awaited her. I pulled out 100 yuan and dropped it into the box on the podium. "I am Yu Shuang's roommate, and I worry she might bear her troubles alone. So I speak for her. It seems her family has encountered a major crisis. She has been living frugally, a stark contrast to her former self." The class supervisor sighed heavily. "Yu Shuang, please do not feel embarrassed. Do not think of doing anything foolish. We, your classmates, will help you through this tough time." Yu Shuang suddenly stood up, her mouth agape, struggling to find words, her furious gaze seemingly trying to burn holes into me. Su Yuming gasped in shock, covering her mouth. Shuang, your family has encountered such a significant issue? No wonder you cleared all your social media. I heard you were even selling your clothes and bags at low prices. Oh my, is there anything I can do to help? It's not that dire. I'm not short on money," Yu Shuang stammered, beads of sweat forming on her forehead as she gripped her phone tightly, at a loss for how to explain. "If you're not short on money, then why apply for poverty assistance? Don't force yourself to hold on." I pulled out another 100 yuan and dropped it into the box. "Classmates, I believe that doing a donation might hurt Yu Shuang's pride. She might feel that we pity her, but that's not the case. We genuinely want to help her. This 200 yuan is the money I would have spent on buying clothes from Yu Shuang. Please support her business and help her sell her clothes and cosmetics. Let us show her some kindness, shall we?" Amidst the uproar, many classmates followed suit, throwing money into the box, while Yu Shuang, in a fit of panic, jumped up and eventually collapsed back into her seat, wiping her tears. The class supervisor patted her shoulder to comfort her, but she cried out, "Teacher, please don't do this. It's too embarrassing. Why make my affairs public? How will I interact with everyone in the future?" Su Yuming took her hands gently and said earnestly, "I believe the supervisor is right. I am also afraid you might do something foolish. Just a week ago, you were wearing Gucci and carrying Chanel, sitting in a Porsche, altogether worth over 100,000. But recently? Now you can only afford to eat 4 yuan vegetable meals. Who can endure such a disparity? I must lend you a hand. You are my best sister. Yu Shuang clutched Su Yuming's hand tightly, her nails nearly digging into her flesh, gritting her teeth to squeeze out 5 words. I really thank you. Su Yuming smiled through her tears, shaking her head. Silly girl. Who told you that you are my good sister? Upon returning to the dorm, the truth about Yu Shuang's background emerged. She came from a poor rural family, suddenly facing misfortune with her parents unemployed and paralyzed, drowning in debt, and the story of her applying for assistance was embellished and spread throughout. Even rumors circulated that she nearly jumped off a building. Consequently, the dormitory auntie took the lead, and enthusiastic classmates formed a long line outside our dormitory to donate and support Yu Shuang's business. High heels, dresses, small bags, cosmetics, everything was sold at low prices. Many high-end brands were identified as fakes, and she was left blushing, having to refund people, shattering her wealthy girl persona into dust. In the end, she sat in front of her emptied cabinet, tears flowing silently, with no one to confide in. Oh, I came back late and couldn't help with your business. Li Xian stood with her hands on her hips, tossing 10 yuan onto Yu Shuang's desk. I work tirelessly to earn money and voluntarily give up my poverty student spot to help those who genuinely need it, not to support some fraud. However, if certain individuals are vying to embrace the role of a beggar, I would willingly bestow upon her a $10 bill, merely to indulge in a moment of sympathy. After all, she is indeed soliciting alms. Yu Shuang abruptly lifted her head, glaring at her with a tempest of uncontainable fury sparkling in her eyes, and, with a piercing scream, lunged at Li Xian, clawing at her. You don't need to make snide comments, you fat hag. Even in my poverty, I am still wealthier than your family. The events unfolded with alarming rapidity. Several crimson scratches appeared on Li Xian's neck in an instant. She forcefully pushed Yu Shuang aside, who, unsteady on her feet, collided heavily with the railing, leaving her dazed. That night, Yu Shuang was carried into the school infirmary, wailing for the administration to provide an explanation. The authorities, left with no alternative, had to reach out to both parties' parents to resolve the matter. Yet, Li Xian's father was disabled, and her mother required dialysis weekly, taking 4 to 5 days to travel from the countryside. My own parents were occupied with charitable endeavors in some distant part of Africa and could not return. Only Su Yuming's parents were local, so after some deliberation, we decided to enlist their help. I would cover the expenses, and she would call her parents to ensure that Li Xian received justice. In our freshman year, parents were not permitted to drop us off, so Yu Shuang was unfamiliar with Su Yuming's parents. To uphold appearances, I borrowed a Maybach from a friend to make an impression. However, Yu Shuang's parents seemed oblivious to the luxury of this rare vehicle in Shanghai. They suggested a meeting at the school's Western restaurant and kindly invited all the dormitory residents. Yu Shuang's mother, with a sarcastic tone, remarked, You too must be from the countryside. This meal is on us, so feel free to order whatever you've never had before. Speaking of which, one's upbringing truly shapes a child's character. Our Yu Shuang has been raised to be honest, trustworthy, and considerate, unlike other children. My fists clenched at her words. Li Xian retorted with equal sarcasm. She secretly filmed her roommate changing clothes, fabricated documents to obtain financial aid for impoverished students, and engaged in fights that harmed her classmates. She is indeed different from the rest. Yu Shuang's expression shifted dramatically as she stood up furiously. Li Xian, stop spreading lies. I have explained everything clearly. For matters of legality, perhaps you should clarify things with the police and see how that fares? Yu Shuang's father, his demeanor suddenly serious, lowered his voice to threaten. Don't be ungrateful. In Shanghai, I possess countless means to ensure your daughter's life becomes intolerable. Refuse to apologize. And, do you still wish to continue your studies? With that, he abruptly rose, seizing a bottle of red wine from the table, and without a glance, hurled it at the Maybach, the shattering sound startling everyone. My heart raced in tandem with the chaos. That was a borrowed Maybach.
Do you see?
That wine, which you cannot even afford, I can shatter at will. What status does your family hold that allows you to bully my daughter? Driving a lesser brand vehicle. And you think you can put on airs? If I were to smash your car today, how much do you think you'd demand for repairs? Su Yuming's parents were rendered speechless. Both educators, they had never encountered such a lowly individual as a parent. In the end, they could only mutter, I've never seen such a scoundrel. Li Xian stood up with a smile. I ascend to your uncle laid off and paralyzed? Yet he can still stand to smash a car? I admire his audacity. To threaten to break a multi-million-dollar vehicle, it's clear your family is quite affluent. My anger flared, and without hesitation, I called the police. Initially, Yu Shuang's parents were in disbelief, but when the officers arrived, they appeared utterly drained, their strength sapped. As for Yu Shuang, she had already shrunk into her chair, her face ashen and silent. When the police arrived, her first words were, "The car was smashed by my father, not me." Li Xian discreetly retrieved her phone, hidden in a flower pot, from which she had recorded the incident. Fearing their family might resort to ancestral slander, she had prepared for this moment and had cleverly blurred their faces before uploading the footage to a dark web video platform. Within hours, the video went viral, garnering millions of viewers eager to unveil the audacious Shanghai family. Several television reporters, including those from the reputable Common People Daily, were clamoring to contact Yu Shuang. Yu's father at the police station was desperate, pleading, "Who knows what kind of car that was? I won't pay a dime. That girl harmed my daughter first. I was merely acting in self-defense." Upon hearing this, Li Xian silently handed her phone to the police. "This matter has escalated. Let us review the evidence." By that night, before midnight, Yu Shuang's entire family had been publicly exposed. The school's phone lines were inundated with calls from concerned citizens revealing her fraudulent claims for financial aid, demanding a thorough investigation into her secret filming of her roommates. Due to the public condemnation from Common People Daily, Yu Shuang's family gained notoriety in their village, and rumors spread that they intended to sneak back home to evade the backlash. However, before they could depart, relatives and friends reported them. Under mounting public pressure, Yu Shuang eventually confessed to slandering Li Xian, and several disciplinary announcements circulated on the school's official website for a week. Having lost so much face, she faced scorn as she walked through the school, ultimately taking a leave of absence to retreat home. It was rumored that her parents sold their house in their hometown to cover the car repair costs. The day after Yu Shuang returned home, my boyfriend, Ji Jirui, suddenly sent me 4 or 5 messages. He inquired if my roommate drove a Maybach, asking who she was and if she was single. I scoffed. I had been preoccupied with addressing Yu Shuang's mess and had completely forgotten about this scoundrel. How dare he still reach out? I replied, "Transfer me 20,000, and I'll provide you with my Maybach roommate's contact information." I met my boyfriend, Ji Jirui, at the welcome party. He was a sophomore, the head of the sports and arts department, and quite popular among the girls. Back then, youthful vanity had me wanting to flaunt a relationship, so I contacted him. My generous gestures elevated his status among his friends, while his popularity enhanced my standing among mine, prompting us to go public with our relationship. However, as I busied myself with plans to study abroad in my senior year, he persistently bombarded me with messages about entrepreneurship, asking for investments, which I found tiresome and ultimately rebuffed him. Unbeknownst to me, during our 4-year relationship, he and Yu Shuang had come to view me as a naive cash cow. Would 6,000 work? We're all students. Where would I find that much money? Ji Jirui asked. I smiled, instantly grasping his ulterior motives. Friends, indeed. It seemed he was merely seeking a wealthy benefactor. I responded, "Is the contact information for the Maybach that easy to obtain? Without some form of reciprocity, do you think she would even consider your friend?" After sending the message, I returned to my dormitory and meticulously calculated the expenses I had incurred throughout our half-semester relationship. Upon finishing, I noticed his transfer had arrived. So it's just 6,000. His family isn't well off. He merely wishes to meet the Maybach girl. I set my phone down and asked Su Yuming, "Do you have the WeChat of that 40-year-old widow, Wang, downstairs? Please pass it along." The widow, a socialite in our building, posed like Fan Bingbing on social media, with her profile filled with posts showcasing her life of luxury, boasting about her recent purchase of a villa in Jing'an, fully paid for by a group of under 20-year-olds. Her attempts to flaunt wealth as a new student had become a running joke for Su Yuming, who had recounted it numerous times. I calculated the expenses and passed Wang's WeChat to Ji Jirui, adding, "I'm considering breaking up. It's quite dull. Please calculate how much I'm owed and transfer it to me via Alipay." Ji Jirui chose to ignore my message. I had anticipated this reaction. So I organized my spending records into a comprehensive list, printed multiple advertisements using the printer downstairs, and posted them beneath the boys' dormitory the next day. The content read, "Boys' dormitory free items, location, East Courtyard 1235, bed 4, Ji Jirui's bed. The following items are available for free. Each person is limited to 1 item on a first-come, first-served basis. For any issues, contact me, Dai Xiaotian Alien Notebook. A cone. La Prairie Caviar Essence Mask, blue bottle, perfect for your girlfriend. Thick tissue, the 4-layer kind. CK underwear, secondhand, dirty, not recommended. After posting, I went to class. And before I could finish, GROA's WeChat exploded with messages, filled with profanities, berating me as a petty, stingy, small-minded person. I didn't bother reading the rest. Instead, I sent him a payment request code, 1314, with a note. Want to reconcile? Show some sincerity. Or, do you intend to continue using my money to pursue my roommate? GROA paused for a few seconds before launching into a flurry of voice messages and video calls, and I could almost envision his furious expression through the screen. Before blocking me, he hurled insults, calling me nothing more than a rustic driving a Porsche, admonishing me not to regret my actions. I suspected his newfound confidence stemmed from his interest in courting the Maybach heiress. Before long, the widow Wang updated her Weibo with a message, featuring a plethora of luxury goods photographs, among which was a screenshot of GROA's WeChat history, complete with an uncensored profile picture. The accompanying text read, "If you bloom, butterflies will come." In truth, I am not as remarkable as he claims. I merely possess a slightly superior ability compared to others. Our class's male students also attended the zero-cost shopping event at the boys' dormitory, returning to tease me about the considerable fuss surrounding my breakup with GROA, claiming it brought him great embarrassment. They advised me, as a young lady, not to be overly calculative, for it would not reflect well if such matters spread. Their words left me both amused and infuriated. I inquired about the free A-grade incense, asking who had purchased it, but he merely walked away in silence. Yu Shuang had vanished for nearly a month, only returning 2 weeks before finals. In that era, online public opinion had not yet spiraled out of control, and a month was ample time for a sensational event to fade into obscurity. She had changed her name to Yu Anxia and undergone double eyelid surgery. Aside from close friends, most passers-by had forgotten her past stories. Now, she was on academic probation, having abandoned her former flamboyant demeanor. Upon returning to the dormitory, she took the initiative to apologize to everyone, declaring that the past was bygone and urging us not to hold grudges, promising to remain good sisters. She even provided printed exam outlines, which she had requested from the teacher in advance, exclusively for us 3 close friends. When it was my turn, she squatted beside me and quietly revealed her phone, saying, GROA has contacted me several times, but I ignored him. He has now deleted me. She lamented. It's not worth falling out with my best sisters over a worthless man. Tion, let's stay well and ignore such scoundrels. Had it been before, I would have undoubtedly believed Yu Anxia's sincere apology. This time, however, I remained cautious and replied, indeed, scoundrels are not worth it. I heard he is currently pursuing a wealthy woman from Xiahongshu who also attends our school. It seems he has discarded not only me but you as well. Yu Anxia paused in surprise and asked, from our school? Which major? It has nothing to do with me. I only wish to focus on my studies and remain low-key. I saw through her little scheme and smiled without responding. Later, the teacher also distributed review materials in electronic format, which we deemed wasteful and chose not to print again. In truth, it mattered little whether we reviewed or not. After graduation, the 3 of us all pursued postgraduate studies, having retained most of what we learned in our foundational courses during our first year. Only Yu Anxia was pleased, believing that our dormitory had a week's head start on reviewing, attributing the credit solely to herself. During the review period, Widow Wang frequently updated her Weibo, intermittently posting interactions with GROA, until one day, she cryptically posted a message. What sister wants to get to know me? Your words betray your intentions. The screenshot revealed Yu Anxia asking her, which college are you from, sister? I have long wanted to treat you to a meal. GROA has been keeping the beautiful lady hidden, fearing we might compete for his affection. Su Yuming discreetly informed me, Yu Anxia is not at Widow Wang's level. She is in for a rude awakening. One evening, just a week before the exams, we heard several male screams outside the dormitory. The following morning, we learned that GROA had met up with the Maybach sister and was ruthlessly ambushed by Widow Wang at the hotel entrance, returning in disarray, with his shirt torn. His humiliation spreading throughout the boys' dormitory. To make matters worse, Widow Wang claimed to be the original partner who had been deceived for money and affection, publicly calling out Yu Anxia by name on the complaint wall, accusing her of seducing her boyfriend and playing the mistress. Now, Yu Anxia dared not make any mistakes. In the early hours, she hired online trolls to distance herself from the situation, placing all the blame on GROA, claiming he had willingly acted as her sycophant, straddling 2 boats, and urging her sisters to be wary of worthless men. Public opinion overwhelmingly condemned Ji Jiarui, and Widow Wang later stormed into the school, nearly stripping Ji Jiarui in the study room, crying and demanding he take responsibility, a scene rivaling a Hollywood blockbuster. Eventually, the teacher called the police, taking Widow Wang away, and Ji Jiarui's disgrace became notorious throughout the school. It was rumored that his family intervened, offering money to Widow Wang to quell the scandal. From that moment on, everyone utterly forgot Yu Anxia's history. Conversations turned to the affair between the charming widow and the young man, leaving Ji Jiarui's dormitory too frightened to show their faces, leading him to change majors and transfer to the remote software park in the West Campus, never to be seen again. However, on the eve of finals, Ji Jiarui suddenly added me as a friend and sent an abundance of crying emojis. Upon accepting his request, he first sent a review document for my major. This is a top-secret document I painstakingly acquired. You'll find it useful for tomorrow's exam, so review it tonight. I glanced at the file size. Identical to what the teacher had sent, his talent for fabrication was impressive. During our time apart, I really missed you, he continued. I like someone and don't care about her wealth. Shall we talk again and get back together? I scoffed, promptly sending him 3 payment requests, 520, 1314, and 8888. The sentiment remained unchanged. If you wish to engage, show some sincerity. Ji Jiarui hesitated, clicking on the first 2 payment requests, but lingered over the third. Stuck in the process of inputting, I swiftly deleted him and posted a moment on social media. The gullible cash cow is truly convenient. After deleting the post, I suddenly felt inspired to download the electronic review materials provided by the teacher to compare them, only to be utterly shocked by the contents. The materials from the teacher contained over 20 additional pages compared to Yu Anxia's printed documents. Was Yu Anxia being deliberate? I retrieved the printed materials she had provided for herself, discovering they were verbatim copies of the electronic version, while the documents she had printed for us were severely lacking. No wonder. In previous years, she had consistently insisted on printing review materials at the end of each term, urging us not to rely on the electronic versions, claiming the paper ones were more convenient to carry. How many times had we been deceived by her? It's too difficult. I don't want to study anymore. I'd rather go to bed early. Just before lights out at 11, Yu Anxia climbed into bed, surrendering to despair. Shortly after midnight, she quietly grabbed her phone and jumped out of bed to study in the first-floor study room. To be honest, if she had only been secretly studying while hiding it from everyone, we wouldn't have found it repugnant. However, her constant little schemes made it evident that she had a penchant for sabotaging those around her. We absolutely could not let her off the hook. On the day the exam results were released, unsurprisingly, a plethora of students failed the advanced mathematics course, with our classes passing rate resting at a mere 40. Yu Anxia intentionally initiated a group voice chat, her voice quivering with feigned tears. What should we do, everyone? This advanced math was incredibly difficult. I only scored 80. I couldn't even get the simplest questions right. I'm so foolish. You all must have done better than me, right? I let out a cold laugh and sent a screenshot of my score. 92. Li Xian scored 90, and Su Yuming achieved 97. For such simple questions, a score below 90 is indeed concerning. You shouldn't be underperforming, considering we reviewed together, Su Yuming retorted sarcastically. Yu Anxia resembled a mute who had bitten into bitter melon. Unable to voice her grievances, her lips drooping in despair. In the background, Su Yuming was at the school dormitory. As a local, she had returned to the dormitory during the winter break. When the next semester's class schedule was released, she had taken all of Yu Anxia's books back to her dormitory and made some adjustments. She kept only the odd-numbered pages of the linear algebra textbook, the even-numbered pages of probability theory, and discarded everything after Unit 6 of the physics book. In short, if Yu Anxia wanted to see the complete textbook, she would have to figure it out herself. If she missed anything, she couldn't blame us. Yu Anxia, who rarely paid attention in class and relied on copying assignments, was the type to cram right before exams. Surprisingly, after the winter break, she went months without noticing the missing textbooks until just before Qingming Festival, when the teacher outlined the scope of a small quiz, and she finally realized her materials were incomplete. She asked everyone in the group about the quiz scope. I quickly sent her a 4 megabytes PDF, and once the withdrawal period passed, Su Yuming urgently tagged her, claiming I had sent the wrong document, and provided an 800 kilobytes exam outline. We played along, and Yu Anxia, being suspicious, surely opted for the larger exam scope. You might as well stay up tonight and cram. On the day of the small quiz, Yu Anxia entered the exam room with dark circles under her eyes, looking disheveled yet grinning with confidence. Then she glanced at the test paper and realized she couldn't answer a single question, sobbing as she was the first to submit her paper. Upon returning to the dormitory, she couldn't vent her frustration at me, so she unleashed her wrath on Su Yuming. Are you out of your mind? You had to trick me about the quiz scope? Do you habitually deceive your close friends? Su Yuming retorted without hesitation. Am I not good enough to everyone? What more must I do to be left in peace? She delivered a sharp slap to her adversary. You know perfectly well who tampered with the exam content first. Are you bold enough to claim that the scope of last semester's final examination was not your doing? You all failed to consult the electronic version and now blame me? If a few pages are missing, that's your own fault. Besides, with your stellar grades, what difference does a few pages make? You've committed so many wrongs. Beware of retribution upon your family. The dread of her parents' tragic accident replaying haunted Su Yuming after her rebirth, making her especially averse to such words. In a fit of rage, she lunged at Yuanxia. Just then her phone rang. Her parents had been involved in a car accident downtown and needed her to come immediately. The confluence of keywords, tomb sweeping day, car accident, rebirth, left Su Yuming utterly terrified, and by the time she hailed a cab, she was already in tears. Upon arriving at the scene, she discovered that her parents had accidentally struck someone's pet dog. With a new car, inexperienced drivers, and a new pet, her parents and the dog owner were all equally bewildered. Su Yuming's parents had welcomed their daughter after nearly 40 years, dedicating themselves to teaching and lacking in worldly affairs. The insurance company suggested calling someone knowledgeable to handle the situation, which led to Su Yuming being summoned. Once matters were resolved, her parents insisted on treating her dormitory friends to dinner, specifically inviting Yuanxia. Why call her? Is Wamping South Road 600 on holiday today? Su Yuming rolled her eyes and muttered, just as Yuanxia approached the table, utterly perplexed. When she finally recognized Su Yuming's parents, her expression turned to one of shock. Su Yuming lazily explained, I forgot to mention that they are actually my parents. Li Xian's parents couldn't make it, so I asked them to fill in. The luxury car ISNTRs. We're just an ordinary family. You aren't angry, are you? After all, we are good friends. Yuanxia abruptly stood, trembling with rage. What do you mean ordinary family? Who are you paying for the car damages? With unwavering confidence, Su Yuming replied, the compensation is for my friend. I borrowed the car from a wealthy acquaintance, so of course, I must pay for the damages. You're truly amusing. Ordinary families don't flaunt their Shanghai roots. Yet. You can't stop mentioning it. Is your ID starting with 310? Do you even know the significance of Wamping South Road? I'm merely pointing out your absurdity. Yuanxia's eyes blazed with fury, wishing she could tear Su Yuming apart. Do you all think I'm a fool? Indeed. Who could blame her for treating everyone as fools in her past life? Su's mother intervened as a peacemaker, remarking on their shared living arrangements being a matter of fate. And after much negotiation, they reluctantly agreed to cease hostilities. I smiled at Yuanxia. Exactly, the past is behind us. Why dwell on it? You said it yourself. We will continue to be good friends, right, Yuanxia? I returned her spiteful words in kind. With reddened eyes, Yuanxia silently served herself food, feeling both wronged and unable to retort. After dinner, Su Yuming expressed a desire to visit the nearby Jing'an Temple to seek a protection talisman. After her rebirth, she had developed a superstitious belief in such matters, feeling that Yuanxia's curse was ominous and must be countered with a talisman. The rest of us accompanied her to make wishes and draw lots. Upon returning to the dormitory, Yuanxia placed her talisman under her pillow, clutching it tightly. Unfortunately, that night, a cockroach infestation led us into a frenzy, searching high and low, and inadvertently revealing Yuanxia's talisman. It lay on the floor, boldly inscribed with the words, May Su Yuming's entire family perish. Su Yuming stood frozen for several seconds, her mind momentarily blank with rage, staring at Yuanxia. Yuanxia feigned nonchalance as she picked up the talisman, tearing it apart and tossing it into the trash. I just wrote that for fun. It's merely a childish prank. You didn't take it seriously, did you? That night, Su Yuming refrained from confronting Yuanxia directly. Just as things were about to escalate, the instructor called, informing her that Yuanxia's mother had suffered a heart attack during an argument and had passed away. We were asked to keep her company until her relatives arrived to take her to the hospital. In her previous life, I remembered Yuanxia's mother indeed had a heart condition, a consequence of her struggle for a second child to avoid fines. In one moment, she was cursing others to perish, and in the next, karma struck with alarming swiftness. Yuanxia appeared utterly defeated. lifelessly getting into her uncle's car to return home for funeral arrangements, making only a fleeting appearance during finals before vanishing again. At this juncture, we no longer wished to hold grudges against her. If her past misdeeds warranted retribution, then the loss of her mother was the heaviest punishment of all. Each of us would now tread our own paths. How she chose to live her life was of little concern to us. That summer, Li Xian's submission went viral on a video platform, garnering over 400,000 followers and gaining a modest reputation among the youth. When school resumed, we were astonished to find that Yuanxia had undergone cosmetic surgery. Her nose, mouth, and eyes bore an uncanny resemblance to Li Xian's, even down to the tear mole at the corner of her eye. She offered no explanations, simply pulling out her phone and casually stating, "I've started my own media channel." Each of her subsequent posts closely mirrored Li Xian's, shamelessly plagiarizing her topics, writing trends, and signing with an agency. While Li Xian remained low-key in reality, reluctant to flaunt her identity on campus, Yuanxia was ostentatious, frequently asked for autographs in the cafeteria, reveling in her newfound popularity. While we found her utterly distasteful, we refrained from confronting her, out of respect for her mother's passing. Su Yuming and I embarked on a startup in renewable energy during our sophomore year, while Yuanxia relentlessly copied our endeavors. That year, the trend of campus ambassadors and consultants flourished, and she claimed the title of campus representative for a certain credit company, leveraging the name of a major corporation to gain traction among her peers, swiftly ascending to the status of a goddess among new students. Upon returning to the dormitory, she would arrogantly taunt us, "What future do you see in making electric bikes? You're all just stuck in your ways, lacking any talent to compare with me." I sarcastically retorted, "But you don't have a mother." Su Yuming echoed, "But you don't have a mother." In an instant, Yuanxia's face turned pale, her cheeks trembling with fury. "Don't get too cocky. If you're jealous, just say it. There's no need to hit where it hurts. But my status will soon be different from yours. Next semester, I'll be moving out of the dormitory. I've bought a place in the city center, and we shall have no further dealings." Li Xian fiddled with her camera, suddenly declaring, "That may not be the case. Soon in court, I will be the plaintiff for plagiarism, and you will be the defendant." Yuanxia paused, glaring back at her with renewed arrogance. "If you have the guts, go ahead and sue. Take on my entire agency, and be careful. You might end up with nothing." With that, she stormed out. That day, I coincidentally encountered the class monitor, who had previously received an A grade and had been quite friendly toward me. He pulled me aside to inquire why only Yuanxia had signed up for the exchange student program when the rest of us had better GPAs. Wasn't he anyone else considering it? It seemed there had been some opportunity, but the application deadline was quite late and had already passed. Yuanxia was notoriously traditional. What was she up to now? Most majors had partnerships with foreign institutions for a one-year exchange during junior year, and the application window was tight. With the instructor having notified the class monitor late at night, Yuanxia had proactively approached the monitor for a paper application, claiming she would inquire among all the girls. She told everyone the deadline was the following month, while in reality, it was merely 3 days away. In the end, only Yuanxia submitted her application. What a shame. Don't you girls wish to study abroad? Yuanxia's application materials are unlikely to be accepted. Her GPA is subpar. Although it was not a prestigious school, I couldn't bear to see Yuanxia scheme once more, so I decided to take action during the class meeting. During the class meeting, the instructor invited Yuanxia to share her experiences as a campus ambassador, praising her outstanding performance over the year. Once she basked in her glory, I cheerfully took the stage to announce some good news. The exchange student application deadline was moved up, and our class monitor, fearing we might miss it, submitted the information of all the girls in our class for review in advance. Surprisingly, over half of them were approved. A moment of silence enveloped the classroom before it erupted into a cacophony of voices, some filled with joy, others furrowed in concern, all engaged in fervent discussion. "You heard me right. He acted without consulting us first. However, it's not a problem. Those who do not wish to participate can simply withdraw their applications." Yuanxia's expression shifted dramatically. Amidst the chaos, Su Yuma discreetly switched Yuanxia's projection back to the main screen, which displayed WeChat. Anxia, in a panic, promptly messaged the class monitor. "What is going on? I only filled out one name on the application form. How did everyone end up applying?" The large screen publicly broadcasted her message, and gradually, the students fell silent, their attention fixed on the screen. Anxia inquired again, "Did you submit it by mistake?" "None of them are applying. I'm the only one who did." A girl from the neighboring dormitory stood up, indignantly asking, "What do you mean by that? Yuan Anxia?" Initially perplexed, Anxia's confusion turned to shock as she gazed at the large screen, as if struck by lightning, leaving her momentarily frozen. Cold sweat broke out on her brow. I remarked coolly from the side, "What everyone sees is the truth." Yuan Anxia actively sought the paper application, yet told everyone the deadline was a month away, when in fact it was only 3 days. She applied solely for herself. This situation isn't illegal, as she isn't obligated to inform everyone. But how utterly distasteful. Anxia slammed her laptop shut, defiantly stating, "If you want to be an exchange student, figure it out yourselves. There's only one spot, and we're in competition. Why should I play the role of your caretaker?" Immediately, a girl from a dormitory packed her bag and left, hurling a harsh insult at her. "You're pathetic." Gradually, all the girls in the class departed, casting disdainful glances at Anxia. The class monitor, feeling embarrassed, called over a group of boys and exited, leaving the classroom eerily empty, save for a few of us who remained to witness the unfolding drama. Shortly after, a message chain initiated by the class monitor surfaced in the class group chat. Yuan Anxia is under school observation. Her student status has been revoked, and there are issues concerning her integrity. Should we keep her in the class group? Within half an hour, every response was a resounding no, while Anxia continued to boast and threaten. In the next moment, she was removed from the group. As she vacated her dormitory to focus on her career, we seldom encountered her on campus again. One day, however, someone spotted Anxia outside of school, boasting about moving into a city center apartment, which was actually a shared rental with her boyfriend, Ji Jirui. How intriguing. Throughout her second year, Li Xian was fervently pursuing justice against plagiarism in an era when social media was just beginning to flourish and capital infiltration was still shallow. She firmly believed that she could reclaim justice. By the time she reached her third year, a certain financial product from a major company entered the campus, igniting a trend among the youth to engage in finance. However, the hype surrounding this product was swiftly overshadowed by advertisements for another financial platform, a P2P service. Among the investors was Ji Jirui. Before long, a spokesperson was announced, Yuan Anxia. There were reports of her flaunting a newly acquired BMW at the school gate, brimming with arrogance. I consoled others, urging them not to envy her, as her time in the limelight would be fleeting. Some individuals are self-destructive regardless of intervention. As graduation approached, Li Xian's plagiarism case began to gain traction, while the agency behind Anxia crumbled, leaving her without support and genuinely at risk of becoming a defendant. Let's not forget, she was still under school observation. If she were to err again before graduation, her 4 years would be rendered meaningless. Thus, in the dead of night, Anxia returned to her dormitory, pleading with Li Xian to drop the lawsuit, hastily deleting her accounts on various platforms and disbanding her fan groups. Li Xian remained resolute in her refusal to forgive, and when the court's decision was rendered, Anxia lost the case. Fearing public backlash, the school expelled her, effectively nullifying her graduation certificate. Li Xian demanded no compensation, only that Anxia donate all the money she had earned through social media over the past 2 years and publicly apologize across the internet. Anxia had no choice but to comply. After posting her apology, she vanished without a trace, leaving behind a single WeChat message for us. "Don't be so smug. That money from social media isn't even enough for me to buy a car. Do you really think I care? A degree from a university is nothing special. I could easily purchase a graduate or even a doctoral degree. Money can accomplish anything. Farewell, you bunch of bumpkins. Let's never contact each other again." Years later, a wealthy individual who had once scratched his Maybach encountered Anxia while shopping in Hong Kong and sent me a photo, claiming he had run into her in a preparatory class, likely to pursue graduate studies in Hong Kong the following year. That year was 2018. The subsequent year, 2019, she was indeed studying in Hong Kong. Anxia's finances were questionable, and as the P2P platform collapsed, several financial executives were apprehended, including Ji Jirui. It dawned on me that in my previous life, during our senior year, he had relentlessly pressured me to invest in a startup project, which was that very P2P platform. Fortunately, I was solely focused on my studies and had removed him from my contacts. He ultimately failed to succeed. In my past existence, Anxia had not plagiarized Li Xian and had pursued a career in social media, thus holding no value for Ji Jirui, allowing her to evade disaster. This time, however, 2 individuals, both foolish and malicious, had come together to meet their just deserts. I heard that Anxia ultimately never completed her graduate studies and vanished from the public eye after 2019. During our 4th year post-graduation, I met up with Su Yuma and Li Xian for a small gathering. Everyone seemed to be doing well. Li Xian was on the verge of becoming a million-follower up master, not a top-tier influencer, but her career was finally on the right track. Su Yuma's parents were in good health and were already discussing their retirement plans. As we chatted, my phone suddenly pinged with a notification. Yuan Anxia, originally named Yu Shuang, a suspect in a financial crime, has been captured in Shenzhen. The end. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe and support us with a like. Until next time, see you in the next story.